When the New York Times wrote a fair and accurate headline about Trump's calls for unity, but then replaced it with a disparaging one to appease the Twitter mob and Democrats, well, apparently wasn't enough for the liberal outlet. According to reports, the Times top editor, Dean Baquet, has a plan for how the Gray Lady can prove Trump's a racist. He not only called their slightly pro-Trump headline a, quote, effing mess, but he also, quote, emphasized that rather than simply labeling the president or other leaders racist or using euphemisms like racially charged, the paper should demonstrate instances of racism through concrete examples. Here to respond is Candace Owens, founder of the Blexit movement, and Monique Presley, attorney and Democrat strategist. You know, Candace, it looks like to me now the Times just can't report on what Trump says. They have to say what they believe he means deep down in his heart. And that's really not their role, except maybe on the opinion pages.
Well, I mean, that's what we're talking about here. These are not journalists. You and I both know that these are activists. And in my opinion, this is a major win. What is happening in these boardrooms is a major win for our president for going into 2020. I mean, in 2016, he basically entered a thesis. He said, the mainstream media is lying. The leftist media, they are lying and they are creating division with their rhetoric in this country. I think by and large, he has proven that. When they start reprimanding people on their staff for telling the truth, there is nothing left in their arsenal. I think this is going to turn and it's going to help conservatives in 2020. And we're going to see more and more people that are just feeling different about the left and realizing that they are inspiring hateful rhetoric in this country, and they will not stop at nothing to destroy President Trump.
Monique, what do you think the most racist thing that Donald Trump has ever said or done? What is the number one thing in your mind? Can you give me that one big example of racism?
No, there are probably too many to mention.
Give me the best one. Monique, give me the number one top racist thing the president has said or done.
I actually can't hear you all that well, but I think you asked me to scale them. So
no,
if
I didn't.
I
asked you to give me the big whopper, the number one big kahuna. Racial.
So probably saying that the 44th president of the United States wasn't born in America as a way to delegitimize his candidacy, his election, and to delegitimize the will of the people, and to instead insist that that American-born president was born somewhere else. But
so
when we're talking about the New York Times,
conspiracy theory that Hillary's campaign started.
That's
what you think the most racist thing he said was?
There's no President Hillary Clinton. As much as I wish there was, the only person who actually needs to be held responsible for what he says right now is the President of the United States. And this president, over and over again, says things that I'm certain you wouldn't say, Jesse. There are things that I've never heard Candace say, but she insists on.
Let me ask you a question, though, because we just had some numbers, and we found out that Trump's approval among Hispanic Americans since, I think, January 1st is up 5 points. And Trump's approval among African Americans is up 8 points since the beginning of the year. After this huge onslaught that this guy is a racist, that this guy hates immigrants, his approval numbers among these groups, blacks and Hispanics, is up. Candace, why do you think that is?
Oh, I know why it is. I don't have to think about it because minorities are growing sick of the rhetoric on the left. We're being tired of used as voting mules every 4 years, being told, oh, my gosh, racism is back, white supremacy is back, and our communities are not getting better. This is the first time that we are seeing black Americans and Hispanic Americans get off of their feet. And though the media is trying to use a bunch of rhetoric to distract us and pulling apart pieces and sound bites of things that Trump said, trying to create something that he never meant, it's not going to work this time. I have long called for a Blexit, a black exit from the Democrat Party, and I am seeing Latinos wake up, and I am seeing other minority groups like Chinese Americans wake up and Jewish Americans wake up, and we are done with the left. We want policies, not rhetoric.
So, Monique, have you ever met President Trump?
That's an interesting take. No, I haven't, but I'd like to actually respond to what Candace just said, because it's an interesting take. It's just not factual. First of all, where your numbers are concerned, the numbers for Hispanics and blacks who actually approve of Trump were so low they really couldn't go any lower. So the fact that they have improved isn't really saying much. Second, we know from actual data, from actual polling, the reasoning behind the increase has nothing whatsoever to do with people being tired of some leftist rhetoric. Everyone is sick of Trump's rhetoric. It's the fact that the job numbers, the employment numbers continue to increase, something that started under the prior president and thankfully seems to be the one thing
Candace,
that this president
I was going to ask Monique
up.
if she'd ever met President Trump. She's never met him, but she knows what's in his heart.
I did answer that question.
Candace, you've met President Trump.
In his heart. I just know what he says.
You've met him many times. You're an African-American woman. You've worked with him. You've socialized with him. And you obviously have much more experience personally with the President of the United States. If he was a racist, would you be associating yourself with him as a black American?
Absolutely not. And I would not have brought 400 people, 400 black Americans 3 times to the White House to meet with him. Here's the truth. When the president gets in front of a group of black Americans, they are converted to Trump supporters immediately. He is very likable. He's self-deprecating. He's humorous. And he's aware of what the mainstream media is saying about him. And you know what, Monique? I appreciate this. I appreciate you trying to make him someone he's not. It's just not going to work. I'm having 2016 deja vu all over again. People are pretending it's not happening. Oh, the black Americans are only increasing their support for him because of this or that. No, it's because his policies work, and at the end of the day, having jobs, having food on the table is what is going to matter. I support this president, and Monique, you should too.
All right, Monique, we got to run. I'm sorry. Candace has the last word.
All I have to do is read and write.
All right.
Oh, but I just got it.
Thank you guys very much. Actually, I did.